that meeting voted to table all of the items.
Linda, hold on just 1 second. If your microphone is not on mute, would you please put your microphone on mute? There's a lot of background noise going on. Mr. Huter, could you put your phone on mute? Pat, Greg, could you also put your microphones on mute? Or Kim, can you mute anyone who's not muted with the exception of Ms. Dunleavy?
Yes.
Thank you.
It looks like everybody's muted at this point. So we had a serious hacking incident. And so as a result of that, the Planning and Zoning Commission made an emergency teleconference call and voted to table all of the incomplete items on the April 16th agenda for a rescheduled date and time. And this is the date and time tonight. I have reviewed the transcript from the meeting of April 16th, and the only item upon which action was taken by the commission that night was on the citywide text amendment, and the commission voted to defer that item. So all of the other items that remain on the agenda will be heard and hopefully decided upon this evening. After the text amendment was voted for deferral, the commission then began consideration of item number 2 on the agenda. That is case number 2019 V-021-12. That's the application of Silverton Airport parking for variances to the required parking lot, landscape islands, and the 50-foot, 25-foot, and 25-foot undisturbed natural vegetative stream buffers. The commission conducted public hearing on that agenda item. It heard from the property owner, Alex Chavez, legal counsel for the applicant, Alex Brock, and David Huter, an engineer with United Consulting in support of the application. Additionally, the applicant presented a letter of support from the River Park neighborhood. If you recall, there was no public opposition to the application. Staff sounded its recommendation, and that recommendation was for denial. However, staff read a list of 13 conditions it recommended in the event of commission approval of the variance. The public hearing was closed, and a motion to approve the variance is conditioned upon the 13 conditions was read by staff. The motion to approve with the conditions was made by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Fan. After that motion was made, there was a brief discussion amongst commission members. Immediately prior to the unexpected termination of the meeting, Commissioner Atkins had requested that staff place the site plan on the screen. The meeting was closed before any discussion on the site plan was held. With respect to this particular agenda item, it should be noted on the day of the April 16th hearing, the applicant had submitted a revised site plan along with a list of 15 conditions, not 13, which is what was read by staff, upon which the applicant requested the variance be approved. These conditions, upon my review, are exactly the same conditions as recommended by staff in its written staff analysis, except that conditions number 7 and number 9 reference the revised and updated site plan of April 14th, 2020, rather than the January 7th, 2020 site plan referenced by staff. At this juncture, I think that hopefully gives you a decent summary of where we were and refreshes commission members and applicants alike where we were. And so I think we're ready to proceed, and I'll turn it over to the commission. The commission needs to make a motion at this point to untable the unheard items and move forward with tonight's agenda, beginning with item number 2, where we left off. And the agenda will be in the same order as was published for the April 16th meeting. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair, unless there are questions.
No, that's great. Thank you, Ms. Dunleavy. So at this time, I'd like to ask if staff would please sound a roll call to establish a quorum.
Absolutely. Commissioner Sean Atkins.
Present.
Commissioner Joel Tucker Todd.
Present.
Commissioner Gregory Fenn.
Here.
Commissioner Patricia Lovett,
Present.
Commissioner Jerry Bell,
Here.
Commissioner Will Miller,
Here.
Commissioner McKnight,
Here.
Commissioner Maxwell, Commissioner Mitchell.
Present.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Alston. Commissioners, at this time, I entertain a motion to untable our meeting.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Is the second again, please?
Second by Clyde.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, probably seconded by Commissioner Mitchell, that we untable our April meeting. All in favor sound aye.
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 All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. Our meeting is untabled, and we can continue with agenda item number 2. As our attorney, Ms. Dunleavy, had mentioned, I did request that the site plan for this particular agenda item be put on the screen. So if you could go ahead and put that on the screen for me, I'd appreciate it. And is this the site plan of April 14th, or is this the site plan that was referenced by staff from an earlier date?
This is a site plan referenced by staff from an earlier date.
Okay, so this is indeed not the actual site plan that will be a part of this package. Is that correct?
That is not correct. This is the original site plan submitted as the package in the application. This is not the site plan that was submitted to our department on April 16th in the afternoon. This is the original site plan. Would you like I can show the.
Could you please put up the April 14th site plan?
Yes.
Okay, and can you tell us what the changes are? What are the differences?
The difference in the proposed site plan to the original site plan is the applicant has added permeable parking spaces along the perimeter of the detention pond. They have also made references to the types of material that will be used. They have also added some landscaping along the edges as well.
Okay, so there was no landscaping prescribed nor as a part of the conditions heretofore?
There was landscaping prescribed in the conditions before. It is my understanding that they were trying to or attempting to impose the conditions, transpose them onto this proposed site plan. The concern that staff has with this is that this particular site plan that was submitted to us on April the 16th in the afternoon has not had the opportunity to matriculate through our technical review departments, and therefore we would not feel comfortable accepting this at this time. And we feel comfortable with the conditions that have been set forth to cover all development concerns that we have.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And again, can you, staff, tell me what is the proposed number of parking spaces that will be a part of the staff's recommendation, the total?
The total number of parking spaces is 1,179. Let me double check the number.
Okay.
And that number has not changed, but let me get the exact number.
Okay.
The exact number is 1,196 parking spaces total.
That's 196 total. Okay, all right. And I do understand that the applicant met with the closest affected or impacted neighborhood association, which is River Park, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and do we have any readout from that meeting in terms of any considerations that that community had requested of the applicant?
Tony, do you have the letter that was submitted to our office from the neighborhood?
Sorry, my screen got frozen. I'm looking for it now in my email.
Okay. In a summary, the letter stated that they were in support of the project.
Okay.
They did identify that Mr. Huter had met with them. They had came up with their own agreement amongst themselves, I guess a certain amount, a fund that will be paid into for the River Park community. And yes, it did state that they were at this point in approval or agreement with the project.
The project. Okay. All right. Commissioners, are there any other comments, questions, or concerns about this agenda item?
Mr. Chair.
Okay. Kim, can you put us back on gallery so that I can see, unless one of the commissioners is asking for any of the slides, so I can see everyone? Okay. Thank you. I think I heard Commissioner Tucker and Commissioner Fan. Is that correct?
You did. Joe can go first.
Before we do that, can I please, I think our P&Z attorney has raised her hand. Ms. Dunleavy, is that something that you would like to say?
Yeah, I did want to mention something actually while Kimberly had the conditions up on the screen. She had the first 7 conditions. The applicant had submitted 2 additional conditions, and I wanted the commission to be very much aware of those 2 additional conditions because I think staff has reviewed those. The additional conditions of the applicant were encroachment into the stream buffer will not substantially exceed that which is on the buffer encroachment map prepared by United Consulting. And the second one is the
Hello, can you put that person on mute, please, Kim?
Yes.
All right.
And the second one was the existing vegetative buffer on the northern property line shall be maintained and supplemented as needed to provide a continuous visual screen. These were actually 2 conditions that I had recommended. And I understand staff has reviewed those conditions, and maybe Kimberly can comment on that before you move on with commission discussion.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct. Those conditions were reviewed by staff, and we are in agreement with those 2 additional conditions, number 14 and number 15.
And so in order for those, go ahead, Ms. Dunleavy.
Sorry. And then finally, if the commission moves forward with the motion to move to approve with conditions, I would recommend that unfortunately a 16th condition be considered, and that is that the applicant be advised that they cannot move forward with the land disturbance permit unless the text of the zoning ordinance is amended to allow the park and ride use that the applicant proposes is in an I-1 district. Otherwise, the approval of the variance is null and void.
Okay, that sounds logical. So we would need a friendly amendment to include those 3 additional conditions to the 13 that have already been a part of the motion and the second. So at this time, I'll recognize Commissioner Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just to be 100% sure, because we're going in a lot of places with this, there are now 16 total conditions, but the site plan that's changed, is the applicant online that I could ask him specifically what has changed in between? I can't figure out if it's the 14th and the 16th.
He is online. Mr. Huter? Mr. Huter? Is there another representative from Sylvan Parking?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I had my phone on, and I was trying to talk to.
Okay, you've gone out. Mr. Huter?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I don't know what the problem is. All right. So what we did with the site plan was after we received the recommended conditions from staff, and actually the conditions that staff put up on the board, on the screen, were the 13 conditions that they had in the previous staff report. The most recent staff report actually has 15 conditions. So the 15 conditions that Linda is referring to, Ms. Dunleavy is referring to, are the 15 conditions in the most recent staff report. It's just that the PowerPoint that was put up did not have all 15. So the 15 conditions are in the latest staff report. And so then there would just be the 16th condition that Ms. Dunleavy just requested. As far as the changes in the site plan, what we did was we went through those conditions, and things like bioretention facilities, pervious pavers that were requested, we added that information to the site plan so that we could show that we were in fact intending to comply with all of those conditions as requested. And then we also wanted to make sure that it was very clear to everybody where the number of parking spaces were coming from. So we added a note onto that latest site plan to show where the different counts for the parking spaces were, so it was clear where the 1196 spaces came from. So that was the main changes to that site plan, were clearly identifying where those 1196 parking spaces were, the addition of the bioretention areas as requested by staff, and addition of the pervious pavement as requested by staff.
Thank you. I appreciate that clarification.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Commissioner Fan? Can please mute Mr. Huter?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me,
Yes.
Sean? I said that I'm good. Joe asked the questions about the conditions. That's what I was going to ask. What were those conditions, those other conditions? Because it's kind of hard to, we're doing it here and using to have paper before you can see what those conditions are. But the last one that Linda talked about in terms of the text amendment, and that is to be added to the other 15. Is that the understanding?
That is correct. So that particular one regarding the text amendment would be condition number 16.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, so we need a friendly amendment because at the current moment, the motion on the floor is approval with 13 conditions. Those were the 13 original conditions as stated. Since that time, there have been 3 additional conditions that have been discussed. And so is there someone who would like to make a friendly amendment to include those 3 additional conditions as a part of the motion?
I would like to make a friendly amendment to include the 3 additions to the recommendations.
To the original, okay, to the original motion. Mr. Tucker, do you accept those, that friendly amendment?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
And Mr. Fan, Commissioner Fan, does your second still stand? You have to unmute.
It still stands.
Okay, thank you. So commissioners, at the moment, we have a motion on the floor for approval of agenda item 2019 V as in Victor -021-12, as stated by staff, to include 16 conditions as have been stated by staff and our P&Z attorney, Ms. Dunleavy. That motion has been made by Commissioner Tucker, approved by Commissioner Fan, seconded by Commissioner Fan. All in favor sound aye.
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 All opposed sound nay.
No.
Okay, do we need to do a roll call? Staff, would you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes. Commissioner Atkins.
I only vote in case of a tie. Go to the next commissioner,
All right,
please.
Commissioner Joel Tucker Todd.
Yes.
Commissioner Greg Fenn.
Yes.
Commissioner Patricia Lovett.
Yes.
Commissioner Jared Bell.
No.
Commissioner Will Miller.
Yes.
Commissioner McKnight. Commissioner McKnight.
Gina, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't get my mouth.
Okay, that's okay.
Commissioner Maxwell? Commissioner Mitchell, you said no?
No.
Okay. We've got 5 yeas, 2 nays. The motion carried. This item is approved. Our next agenda item, which is number 3 on our agenda, is case number 2020 V as in Victor -001-01. This agenda item, in addition to items number 4 through 8, they all require public hearing. At this time, I will read our rules for public hearing. They are a bit lengthy, so if you would please indulge me and bear with me because they incorporate the new format upon which we are operating. Conducting public meetings remotely is a new process for local governments. Due to the coronavirus outbreak and requirements on physical distancing, the Planning and Zoning Commission has recently started using Zoom, a video conferencing platform, to hold its meetings while making them available to the public to join remotely. This is only our 3rd meeting using this platform. Those attending these Zoom meetings are reminded that these are public meetings with established rules of procedure and decorum, which will still be followed to the extent reasonably possible. The meetings are held to address zoning business for the city, and to that end, anyone participating in the virtual meeting will be expected to follow the rules for public speaking at these meetings. Those in attendance have either accessed the meeting via telephone or webinar link. Unless you're an applicant or representative of an applicant actively addressing the commission, I ask that you mute your microphone. Unless you signed up to make public comment on a particular agenda item prior to calling of this meeting as set forth in the public notice, you will only be allowed to listen to the meeting. You will not be allowed to speak. The standard rules of procedure require a person who wishes to address the commission during the meeting to fill out a card providing his or her name, first and last name, and his or her address, and to identify the item he or she wishes to speak on. Since no persons will be physically present applicants or the applicant's representative wishing to address the commission have already signed up and identified themselves. They will be called upon by the chair based on this sign up. Some members of the public may have emailed comments to the Planning and Zoning email address prior to calling of this meeting, and those emailed comments will be noted and read for the record when the particular agenda item is called after the applicant's presentation to the commission has been completed. Additionally, some members of the public may have left a message with the Planning and Zoning Department prior to the calling of this meeting requesting an opportunity to comment on a particular agenda item over the phone during this meeting. Those individuals will be called by the staff immediately prior to the calling of the agenda item in which they have expressed an interest and given an opportunity to listen to proceedings on the item and to address the commission at the appropriate time. Persons both favoring and opposing the proposed case will be provided an opportunity to address the commission. The applicant for the zoning case or the applicant designated representative, if any, will be entitled to speak for a total of 15 minutes. Those who oppose the proposed zoning case will then be permitted to speak for a total of 15 minutes. However, understanding that this is a new platform and may take longer logistically, we will be relatively liberal with the time controls until we get used to this new platform. By majority vote, the commission may increase the total time of speakers provided that each side is given the same amount of time. The zoning applicant may reserve a portion of his or her allotted time for rebuttal. After the allotted time expires, the microphones of the speakers will be muted by the host. After speakers for and against an agenda item have been given a full opportunity under these rules to address the commission, the public hearing will be closed, and the commission shall discuss the case amongst its members. Members of the public are not permitted to speak during the commission's deliberation. For those participants, for participants to this meeting, other than the commissioners and the staff, please mute your microphone to avoid background noise that can be disturbing to this meeting. If you fail to do this, the host will do it for you. Also, should any recognized speaker desire for the commission to view a document at any time, please request that the host find and share the document. Due to the security concerns, no one other than the host will be permitted to share the meeting screen. Speakers must adhere to the rules of the quorum. Each speaker shall speak only upon being recognized by the chair and only to the merits of the proposed zoning ordinance under consideration, shall address remarks only to the commission, and shall refrain from making personal attacks on any other speaker. The chair may refuse the speaker the right to continue if after first being cautioned, the speaker continues to violate the rules of the quorum, or the violator may be removed from the Zoom meeting upon my request as chair. Please understand that staff will be multitasking a lot during the meeting and may not be able to respond to a chat inquiry immediately, if at all. However, should you experience technical difficulties during the meeting, please feel free to use the chat feature on the Zoom screen and staff will attempt to assist you. We thank you for your patience and understanding as we work through these challenging times and this new technology. You've heard the rules for our public hearings. At this time, commissioners are entertaining a motion to open the public hearing for case number 2020 V as in Victor -001-01.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Lovett, that we open the public hearing. Staff, would you please sound this agenda item?
Chair, item number 3, case number 2020V-001-01, applicant GeoSam Capital US, Georgia LLC, Kevin Daniels, applicant, and Jeremy Keever, representative.
Okay, thank you. Is a representative from the applicant present this evening, Mr. Daniel and Mr. Keever? Is there an applicant representative present? Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this agenda item? Anyone here to speak in favor of this agenda item? Hearing none and seeing none. Is there anyone here to speak against this agenda item? Anyone here to speak against this agenda item?
Chairman,
Yes.
in reference to this item, there was a letter sent out to the staff, and it was sent out to us on April the 28th via email. Would you like for me to read that into the record?
Is that letter for or against this agenda item?
It is against this agenda item.
Can you please tell the commissioners from whom the letter is coming?
This letter is signed by Bobby Wing, Green Valley Drive Street Captain of the Golden Acres community.
Okay, go ahead with the letter.
This letter says, City of East Point, Wards C and D, concerned residents, dear East Point City Council, several residents representing Green Valley Drive, Dogwood Drive, and Stone Drive met on the following dates. Planning and Zoning Department meeting on February 20th, 2020, and the Community Information meeting with the builders on March 10th, 2020. These meetings were informational and question and answer sessions that seemed to raise more unresolved planning issues. The residents understand that the 3049 Stone Road Kaizen Collaborative property has zoning approval to build residential housing. However, there are unresolved issues that were voiced in the past and remain questionable. Also, know that these issues relate to the City of East Point and not the builder. Please be advised of the following residents' concerns and the need to address the same. Concern number 1, the vehicle egress limitations and safety issues on Stone Road. Number 2, the limited stormwater connections and proper installations affecting Green Valley Drive. Number 3, the past erosions onto the streets and private properties of Green Valley Drive and Dogwood Drive were destructive and caused major changes. We are requesting that the stated issues be addressed and resolved with assurance that residents will not be adversely affected by deficient planning measures for prevention and sustainability of our community. Sincerely, Bobby Wing, Green Valley Drive Street Captain, Golden Acres community.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak against this agenda item? Anyone else here to speak against this agenda item? Hearing none and seeing none, commissioners, at this time I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner McKnight, that we close the public hearing for case number 2020 V as in Victor -001-01. All in favor sound aye.
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 All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now closed. Staff, would you please sound your recommendation?
Yes, I need one moment to share the screen, please. In reference to case number 2020V-001-01, Georgia Sam Capital US, LLC, Kevin Daniel and Jeremy Keever, applicant, property located at 3049 Stone Road, Ward C. The applicant seeks to develop 32 single-family homes and is requesting a variance to reduce the setbacks for both the front yards and the rear yards on lots 1 and lots 15 through 21, as noted in sections of 10-2061 E, B, and D. Staff is recommended approval with conditions of the variance to reduce the front yards and rear yard setback as following lots. Lots 1, 15, 18, 20, and 21, front and rear yard setback reduction of 10 feet. Lot number 19, front yard setback reduction of 30 feet and rear yard setback of 10 feet. The conditions are as follows. For lots 14 through 16, install evergreen buffer that must be at least 6 feet at the time of planning. Condition number 2, for lots 1 through 15, must front Stone Road. Condition number 3, applicant must install sidewalk along frontage.
Okay. Commissioners, you've heard letter written in opposition, and you've heard staff's recommendation. And I want to clarify, the letter was not in opposition to the project. It was related to traffic issues. Is that correct, Ms. Smith?
That is correct.
Okay. So I just want to clarify that. At this time, commissioners, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Tucker.
I'd like to make a motion to approve with conditions stated by staff.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Patricia.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Lovett, that we approve this agenda item with conditions as stated by staff. Any comments, questions, or concerns?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Bell?
One of when I was reading through the notes from the meeting with the neighborhood, one of the things that I've noticed, and it was talked about regarding the drainage and the erosion. And as I was reading those notes, my thought is that it wasn't explicit enough exactly what the applicant plans to do to address that. And my concern is, until we see something that is concrete as far as exactly what that they plan to do to mitigate that, I have a hard time voting yes on this. I personally don't have any issue with this project, but I don't see a concrete plan on how that the erosion is going to be mitigated. And that's something that, if the applicant is here, I would like for them to speak on that.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Bell. And staff, do you know if that is something that is addressed at this time, or if that's something that goes through site development?
That concern is something that will be addressed at the site development stage. They will submit their plans and submit them through our technical review departments. And it will be up to our public works department, as well as our transportation department and engineers, to provide mitigation measures to make sure that erosion and traffic concerns are addressed during that process, site plan and plan review process.
Okay. What I would like is, because I think that the reason I asked the question is because I think that is whether that issue is addressed, but because the commissioner has brought that to the attention of this body and is a concern of his, I would like to make sure that staff please forward to those departments, Public Works, and those who handle site development, as well as transportation, traffic and transportation, the commissioner's concern, to make sure that the concerns are addressed and that they are aware that there was a concern. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Okay, can you go back, give me that screen back with the conditions, please?
Yes.
Okay, in looking at what the applicant is stating in their request for the variance, I am reading that they're seeking a variance setbacks for lots 1 and lots 15 through 21. And so if that is the case, that's a total of 8 lots. According to what staff is recommending, it's only 6 lots. You've got 1, 15, you don't have 16 or 17, and then you've got 18, then 19 below, 20 and 21. So what's happening with lots 16 and 17?
So the condition, the variance request is for all of the lots that were applied for in the application. What this slide is trying to represent is the quantified number of how much the buffer will be for these particular lots.
So then what happens with lots, again, 16 and 17, what will that setback be? Because the applicant's request is for, again, lots 1 and then lots 15 through 21. And so here we have not referenced lots 16 and 17.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Tony, can you look in the staff report for the specifics on?
Yes, I'm looking through actually the case file. Find it.
Because I see what you're saying. The actual quantification on the reduction should be for every single lot.
Well, while staff is looking for that, if we go down to condition number 3, to me, that language is extremely vague. Applicant must install sidewalk along frontage of what? So I think that what the staff is attempting to do is to state that the sidewalks must be installed along the frontage of Stone Road. Is that correct? Is that the only road that the property fronts?
Correct. That is absolutely correct.
Okay. So I think that it needs to be very specific. Applicant must install sidewalks along the frontage of Stone Road. Mr. Austin, any luck in finding information on lots 16 and 17?
Yes, I'm pulling up the staff report now. I'm just moving a little slow. I don't see anything in reference to those lots specifically.
Okay.
We have several raised hands by council. Commissioner Fan.
Okay.
You can see that, Chairman?
I can't see any of that because we're not
sharing the screen. I'm going to unshare the screen so we can see the raised hands.
While staff is looking for that, you said that
Commissioner Fan had a raised hand.
I don't see Commissioner Fan on the screen at all anymore. Commissioner Fan, are you there? Okay, well, staff is looking for that. Ms. Dunleavy, I'll recognize you.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it in the staff report itself, but I do see in the letter from the applicant that the applicant is asking for a variance from lots 1 and 15 through 18. And with respect to those lots, seeking a front yard setback reduction of 10 feet and a rear yard setback reduction of 10 feet. So they're clearly within the scope of the application. And so I guess we need to hear from staff whether exclusion of those lots was an error, and they intend to include those in their report or in their recommendation for approval or not.
And they're not here to speak on it, but I do have that staff report. Lots of, as you said, 1 and 15 through 18 for a front and rear yard setback reduction of 10 feet. Lot 19, front yard setback reduction of 30 feet and rear yard of 10 feet, and 20 through 21 of 10 and 10. So those lots have been left out on the application. There was no reference to them specifically.
Inadvertently. So we need to add back in lots 16 and 17 to the 10-foot setback request.
That would be correct.
Okay. So the motion on the floor was to approve with staff's recommendation, including the conditions. And so at this time, we will have to amend that motion to make sure that we include lots 16 and 17, as well as the additional language in the conditions for condition number 3, which now reads, applicant must install sidewalk along frontage of Stone Road. So
I don't think you need to redo the motion, Sean. I think you can just have a friendly amendment based upon staff clarifications.
okay, and
Mr. Chair, if I could.
yes,
Kimberly, can you pull up the site plan that shows these lots? Because it feels like that we're expanding beyond, so I don't know. Do we have anything? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 10 that butt up to Stone Road. Is that right? 10 lots.
mm-hmm.
And if we go back to what we just revised, what was the number of lots?
The total number of lots is 8 lots, which was a part of the original application. What I noticed that there were 8 lots in the application. However, staff's recommendation inadvertently omitted 2 of the lots, lots 16 and 17. So we're actually not expanding the request, the variance request from the applicant. We're going back to correct what staff's recommendation was to include those 2 lots.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And at this time, I can't remember who made the motion and who seconded the motion.
I made the motion, and I will amend the motion to include the additions that we put here.
Okay, staff's clarification. And was that Lovett? Was that Commissioner Lovett who seconded?
It did. It was. I think it was. Yes, I
Okay,
did.
all right. So commissioners, at the time we have a motion on the floor to approve agenda item 2020 V as in Victor -001-01.
I do have my hand up.
Oh,
I have
I'm
my
sorry.
hand.
I'm sorry, I can't see you. Kim, can you go back to the gallery screen?
Yes, that is Commissioner Mitchell.
Okay, Commissioner
Okay.
Mitchell, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. I'm stuck in my car. I can't get in and out of it because I'll lose you guys. But when they're talking about water mitigation and the sliding of mud on the back, I know that's one of the big things that the neighborhood had in mind. Are they being specific on how they're going to deal with that, the water runoff, to deal with the mud and things on the backside? I didn't see anything specific. Did staff notice anything? I didn't see specific. They said that they would deal with it, but how?
It will be dealt with through the plan review stage, the site development stage of the project.
This is representative applicant.
Okay, the public hearing is now closed, so we're only with the staff. Now, Commissioner Mitchell, someone has identified themselves as a representative of the applicant. Would you like that person to address your question?
Yes, I can address.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, please.
Now I was able to get in.
Okay. Would you please state your first and is that Mr. Kaizen?
Chuck Abbott with Kaizen Collaborative. Yes, I'm the engineer. Yes, sir.
And we need your first and last name and your current address.
Chuck Abbott, 4477 Sims Court, SIMS Court, Tucker, Georgia, 30084.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Abbott.
Yes, the erosion and stormwater issues they will all be addressed at the time of land disturbance permit. Currently, there has been no erosion mitigation on this site for 14 plus years. There are ravines and gullies that are washing around any type of sediment trap on the site. So it's horrible. It's going to be horrible until we can get out there and adequately address all these issues, and they will be addressed.
What scares me is that back in I think it was 2006, I can be corrected, when the project was active, it was miserable back there. I was on council at the time. I think Greg was also, and the mud and the water that came through there. So you're saying as of now, there's no issue. Why would there not be any issues when there were before?
Currently, well, there's several ravines and gullies have eroded throughout the site. It's just there's no silt fence. There's no way to direct any stormwater to a pond or any of the storm inlets. It's all running around it and just eroded horribly. So I guess with the current permit, we can bring it up to current erosion standards and stormwater, and it will be developed in a much more controlled manner and direct all water to a functioning stormwater pond, which is currently not even present. Yes, sir, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. All right. Mr. Chair, that satisfies me.
Okay.
I do have something I want to say. Can you hear me now, Sean?
Yes, Commissioner Fan, go ahead.
Thank you so very much. I don't know what was going on a few minutes ago. But I think that he's addressed the issue on the stormwater issue in terms of that. But we do know that that is a major concern. And I don't know, I know the staff will say they're going to catch it on that end, but I think we need to make sure that some kind of way that is noted that we're very much concerned about the stormwater issue and the settlement, because that was horrible back then. Mud was all in the street. And we don't want to visit that again because the citizen did complain about it. So I just want to go on the record too to say that, I mean, I hope that we do, Mrs. Smith, that when you talk to the people who handle that, the public works people, is to let them know that that's going to be a major concern for the neighborhood and for myself and some other commissioners.
We will definitely do that.
Yes. Yes, if you could please, as we did with the other case, let staff, well, yes, with Mr. Bell's request, so that will be in line with what Mr. Bell was asking as well. Just please make the appropriate staff aware of the concerns of the commissioners. Okay, any additional comments, questions, or concerns? Commissioners, there's a motion on the floor to approve case number 2020 Vision Victor -001-01 as stated by staff with their clarification. Motion was made by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Lovett. All in favor sound aye.
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 All opposed sound nay.
No.
Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes.
Mr. Austin?
Yes, I was trying to unmute my mic, excuse me. Commissioner Joel Tucker-Todd?
Yes.
Commissioner Gregory Fenn?
No.
Commissioner Patricia Lovett?
Yes.
Commissioner Jared Bell?
No.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner McKnight?
Yes.
Commissioner Maxwell? Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Okay. The motion carried. The item is approved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeas, 2 nays. Okay. Our next agenda item, we're now on page 2. Give yourselves a big applause. Our next agenda item is 2020 Vision Victor -007-03. This item also requires a public hearing. Staff, would you please sound this agenda item?
Chairman, item number 4, case number 2020 V-007-03, applicant Wilson Development Group and Theo Stone's representative, properties located at 849 Cleveland Avenue in Ward B. The applicant seeks a 2-part variance for relief of section 10-12021, 1 and 2, to encroach within the 50-foot and 25-foot undisturbed natural buffer.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, at this time, I entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm sorry. Okay, the motion has been made by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Mitchell, that we open public hearing for case number 2020 as in Victor -007-03. All in favor, sound aye.
Aye.
All opposed, sound
Aye.
nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now open. Mr. Stone, would you please present your case?
Yes, good evening. I'm Theo Stone, Civil Project Manager with Atwell, 1255 Lakes Parkway, Building 100, Suite 120, Lawrenceville, Georgia, 003. Here on behalf of Wilson Development related to property at 849 Cleveland Avenue. Current property is a closed business, formerly an adult entertainment establishment that has existing building and parking structure that encroaches in the 25-foot state, 50-foot and 75-foot buffer. We are proposing to demolish the structure and the associated parking lot and redevelop it as a brand new Del Taco quick service restaurant on said parcel. The project as proposed, the parcel as exists currently resides actually in two jurisdictions, the city of East Point and the city of Atlanta. The land disturbance permit will be pursued through the city of Atlanta, as the structure, the detention pond facility, and the majority of the parking lot resides on the part of the property governed by the city of Atlanta. There is a portion of the parcel that has parking that resides in East Point, thus the reason for the request for the developer variance. The redevelopment of the property as proposed results in an overall net reduction of the impact. Currently, there's about 9,336 square feet of encroachment covering 3 buffers. Our proposed project, the encroachment will reduce down to 6,603 square feet, which is a reduction of about 26.5% as originally submitted. This project is also going through the stream buffer variance process in the city of Atlanta. We've had one cycle of review and received comments that resulted in an additional change in the plan, as you see on the screen. Ms. Smith, if you could go to the upper northwest corner of the parking lot, and there's a portion of the parking lot that encroaches into the 50-foot buffer. The city of Atlanta has requested that we remove that pavement as well. We have a revised plan that was submitted to them for re-review and approval. At this time it is pending. The information was submitted to them on I believe March 12th for a March 20th hearing. The city closed, as we're all aware, on March 16th, and they have not had a hearing. But we've addressed their comments and made revisions to the plan. So the plan as presented before you actually has a change that further reduces the encroachment into the buffer. I'll conclude my presentation with that, and I'm here to answer any questions based on the information provided.
Thank you, Mr. Stone. Kim, can you take us back to gallery, please? Are there any other proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning application? Any other proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning application? Hearing none and seeing none. Are there any participants here to speak against, any opponents here to speak against this zoning application? Any opponents here to speak against this zoning application? Hearing none and seeing none. Commissioners, at this time I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Fan, that we close the public hearing. All in favor sound aye.
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 All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now closed. Staff, would you please sound your recommendation? Let's not all speak at once.
Yes, I am getting back to the screen. Excuse me. In reference to item number 4, case number 2020V-007-3, the applicant Wilson Development Group, applicant Theo Stone, representative, property located at 849 Cleveland Avenue in Ward B. The applicant seeks a 2-part variance for relief from section 10-12021, 1 and 2 to encroach within the 50-foot and 25-foot undisturbed natural vegetative buffer. Staff has recommended approval with condition that no significant departure from the encroachment of the City of East Point side reflected in the site plan dated December 31st, 2019, prepared by Atwell Group.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, you've heard from the applicant, you've heard staff's recommendation. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Tucker.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the applicant's application.
Okay, is there a second?
Second,
And Commissioner Tucker, is that with the condition as stated by staff?
Yes, with the conditions as stated by staff.
Okay, and was that Commissioner Lovett who seconded?
yes,
And does your second still stand?
yes,
Okay, Commissioners, at this time, we have a motion on the floor to approve application 2020 V as in Victor, -007-03 with the recommendations as stated by staff, including the condition. The motion was made by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Lovett. Any comments, questions, or concerns?
I'd like to make a comment
Okay,
just to Mr. Stone. Mr. Stone, I want you to know how much we appreciate your interest in that particular piece of land, and we hope that you're wildly successful.
and Mr. Stone, I will also make a comment. I don't know who's going to be responsible for the maintenance of the exterior once your development is complete, but please let them know that we don't want it to look like those weeds across the street, okay? All right. All right, thank you, I appreciate that. There's a motion on the floor to approve made by Commissioner Tucker with a condition as stated by staff, and it's seconded by Commissioner Lovett. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor sound aye.
aye,
All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The item is approved. Thank you, Mr. Stone.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Our next agenda item is 2020 V as in Victor -008-03. Staff, would you please sound this agenda item?
Chairman, item number 5, case number 2020 V-008-03, applicant Leanne Browning. The project is located at 1376 Wilburn Drive in Ward B. The applicant seeks a variance for relief from the fence provisions of section 10-20227 9B, which states gates shall not be located within 20 feet of the public right of way.
Okay. Commissioners, at this time, I entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Fan, that we open the public hearing for case number 2020 V as in Victor -008-03. All in favor sound aye.
Aye.
All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now open. Ms. Browning, are you present?
I am.
Okay, would you go ahead and state your case?
Yes. Hi, Leanne Browning, 1376 Winburn Drive. I bought this property. It sits on the corner of Randall and Winburn because it sits on a corner lot and it has a deep rear lot as well. So I wanted to put a garage back there with a privacy fence around the back. And a motorized gate that allows entrance into the garage. So Director Smith, if you could, can you put up the sketch? Yes, thank you. So as you see, the plans are to demo the existing garage, the existing driveway, move the driveway back towards the rear of the property, then create a parking pad and placing the garage towards the back of the lot. The idea again is to have that motorized gate. It sits on the property line and it's 8 feet from the public right of way because that's a city, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of it. But anyway, so.
Right away?
No, it's
I'm sorry. I should not have, please continue, Ms. Browning.
Okay. So, yes, the easement, there we go. Took me a minute. So the city easement, if you see that ridge right in that picture right there, that is the property line. So that's where I would like for the fence and then the motorized gate to sit. So that's an 8 feet from the public right of way into the backyard. If it's 20 feet, that 20 foot mark bisects the property. And there is no way to situate a garage back there with any sort of gate as the current ordinance is, and I'm seeking relief for that. So the idea again is to, once we get to the intersection of Winburn and Randall, be able to hit the remote, and at that point, the gate starts to open. So it should be wide open by the time you gets down to that gate, not impeding the flow of traffic. Randall is a side street. It's not one of the main thoroughfares within Jefferson Park. I was able to, I have a motion detector camera that's on the side of the house that faces Randall, and every time it picks up vehicles. So on a weekday in February, on a Wednesday, there was 27 cars that went up and down Randall. On a weekend, that Saturday, there was 52 cars that went up and down Randall. So that street is not well traversed. However, I want to make sure that I'm not impeding the flow of traffic. Again, on Randall, the city allows for parking on both sides of the street. So I think that a parked car is far more of an impediment than a car that's slowing in order to make the right turn into the driveway. So again, understanding the spirit of the ordinance is to not impede that flow of traffic. I was also able to look around the neighborhood and with my application gave a presentation on several gates that are not within 20 feet of the public right of way. So the goal of this design is twofold. One, I have a teenage daughter and I want her to be able to, when she comes home, is to be able to open that gate and securely get into the yard and get into the garage. Secondly, I want to be the best citizen I can possibly be for the city of East Point. Jefferson Park, unfortunately, has issue with vehicle break-ins nearly nightly. So I do want to be able to secure my property so that I'm not attributing to that Part 1 crime for the city. So that is the ultimate goals of being able to have that gate there. So I'm sorry. So I appreciate the time given in order to state my case.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Browning. Are there any other proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning application? Any other proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning application? Hearing none and seeing none, are there any opponents here to speak against this zoning application? Any opponents here to speak against this zoning application? Hearing none and seeing none, commissioners, at this time I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second? It's been moved by Commissioner Fan, seconded by Commissioner Miller.
Yes, sir.
Close the public hearing. All in favor, sound aye.
Aye.
All opposed, sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now closed. Staff, would you please sound your recommendation?
Chairman, in reference to item number 5, case number 2020-008-03, applicant Leanne Browning, location 1376 Wilburn Drive in Ward B. The applicant seeks a variance for relief from the fence provision of section 10-2027-9B, which states gates shall not be located within 20 feet of the public right-of-way. Staff has recommended approval of the variance for relief from the fence provisions, which states that gates should not be located within 20 feet of the public right-of-way per section 10-2027-9B.
Thank you. Commissioners, we've heard from the applicant. We've heard staff's recommendation. At this time, I entertain a motion.
Motion to approve
With conditions, second.
with conditions.
There are no conditions.
There's no condition. There's no condition.
Okay, then it's motion approved.
I was seconding for discussion. I do have some discussion.
Okay, so the motion has been made by Commissioner Tucker, is that correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
And the second is by Mr. Fan, is that
Yeah,
correct?
but I have a question.
I got you. I'm just trying to get the second. You're making the second?
Yeah, I am. Yes, sir.
Okay. There's been a motion by Commissioner Tucker that this body approves this case. The second is by Commissioner Fan. Comments, questions, or concerns at this time?
All right, I do, staff, if you would bring back the site plan of, I don't know if that's on the Randall side or which side it is, bring it back up for me, please. Where you can see the back of the driveway. Back.
Yes.
This area here, and I know you don't see where your Kirby and your recyclable is. What is that ditch? Raise that ditch up for me, please. It looks like a stormwater ditch from what I'm looking at it here. Is that what that is? Is that a stormwater runoff ditch? I mean, that's a gully there. I mean, water has been running down there, washing that out. That's what I'm trying to see. Is it, do staff know?
I do not know, sir.
You don't know?
I don't.
Okay. Well, the applicant, I'm gonna ask the applicant, is that a ditch there for stormwater runoff?
No, sir, I believe it's just a city easement from the public right of way. I think that there used to be a sidewalk there. I believe that the grass may have grown over it, but what you see is you just see the raised portion is where the backyard was. So previously in 2007, there was a fence that went back there. So the concrete guys are going to definitely make sure that that levels off nicely.
Okay, I'm just concerned because when I see ditches like that, I mean the water's running from somewhere down into that area, and that's why I was asking the question about that, because that's what that is. That's really what that is. And I don't know where the water is running. Is this downhill? Is your property down here?
Slightly.
The water? No, I'm asking the question.
Slightly downhill.
Okay.
It's actually fairly much a level piece of property.
Okay. I was just concerned. And your fence is going just on the other side of this?
It's going right as you see that demarcation line. That's where the fence goes.
Okay. Which arrow? The long arrow or the short arrow?
The long one.
Okay. And where's that ditch compared to where that arrow is?
I mean, it's right there on that raised part
right
of
there.
Yeah. Yes,
right
sir.
there at the curb. Right there at the curb. I saw it when I saw the curb. Yeah. Okay. And your fence is going right here in front of that.
It's going in. So you see the street, and then that's an 8-foot city easement from the street to the property line.
Okay.
And the fence rests on the property line.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm good. And whenever I see ditches like that, and and you're talking about, I see a water problem. That's why I'm asking that. That's just a long-term issue.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Fan?
Yeah.
Just FYI, it's across the street from one of your competitors. The Sword of the Lord Church is right across from it, and you know where that's at, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
I do. I don't have a competitor though in the Lord. We all work together.
You do not.
We all working together for the Lord,
Right.
especially nowadays.
Right.
It's all one body of Christ, Joel.
That's right.
Just different houses.
There's different houses. I was just concerned because I don't want a water runoff issue to be, and you put up your fence and then your fence is now gone.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Fan. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Ms. Browning, one quick question since we're on this topic. What is the material of the fence?
It's a wooden fence.
It'll be a wooden fence. Okay. Thank you. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none and seeing none, the motion on the floor made by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Lovett, is to approve this variance. All in favor sound aye.
Aye.
All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The item is approved. Thank you, Ms. Browning.
Great. Thank you.
Our next agenda item is a concurrent variance. Item number 2020 Z as in zebra -002-02 and 2020 VC Victor Charles -003-02. Staff, would you please sound this agenda item?
Chairman, item number 6, case number 2020Z-002- 02/2020 VC-003-02. Applicant James Nolan. Properties located at 2776 and 2684 and 2688 Martin Drive in Ward B. The applicant seeks to rezone properties from RT residential townhome to R4 multifamily with a 2-part concurrent variance for relief from the height guidelines and front and side setback regulations within the Cleveland Avenue Overlay District.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, at this time, I entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Miller, that we open the public hearing for this agenda item. All in favor sound aye.
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 All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now open. Is Mr. Nolan present this evening? Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of this agenda item? Is there anyone here to speak against this agenda item?
Mr.
Hearing none,
Nolan.
seeing none, commissioners, at this time, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Commissioner, I'm sorry, Dunleavy?
I'm a little concerned that this applicant may have been locked out because he was here previously and we asked him to come back. Do you know anything about that, Kimberly?
In the chat, it says that he is here.
Right.
Yes, it does.
He's here. He made it. Okay.
Okay, let's give ourselves a moment to admit Mr. Nolan to the meeting. And it also says that Ms. Houston is here.
Okay. It shows.
Okay, I see that Ms. Boone has been able to join us. I see that there's someone with a number 678-612-2756, but there's no name. So I don't know if that's Mr. Nolan or if that is Miss.
Mr. James Nolan has just been added to the webinar as a panelist. Let's see if he is. I still don't. Let's unmute Miss Boone.
Okay, I don't see Mr. Nolan.
Mr. Nolan, are you present?
Tony, who was able to confirm that Mr. Nolan was here?
It doesn't look like he's here unless this unknown number is him. I was trying to check the email to see if that was him. Ms. Houston says he's here. I don't see him, Kimberly, unless you know that that's him.
I don't see Ms. Houston either.
No.
Well, Ms. Houston posted on the chat that Mr. Nolan was here.
He was here and now he's not.
I saw him as an attendee.
He did send an email. He said he's on the phone, but he thinks that he might have been removed earlier, so he can't get in with the computer. He got an error message.
I'm reading the chat. The chat says we are able to see this meeting, but not participate for some reason.
Okay, well, we must give them an opportunity to participate.
Yeah. Okay, Alicia.
Can we table this and move to the next item?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, let me see if I can get a contact from him.
So you get him up and let's move on, Sean, to the next.
Okay.
Ms. Houston just came up.
Okay, yes, Ms. Houston is there now. And
Hey, this is Alicia Houston. I'm here now, if y'all can hear me.
Okay, yes. So, Miss Houston, are you able to get Mr. Nolan on your phone, or can we get him in so that he can speak?
Sure, give me just a second to call him.
Okay.
Okay. I've got Jim on speaker, guys. Hopefully this will work okay. I'm going to hold the phone next to my tablet.
Okay, Mr. Nolan?
Jim, can you say something so that they can see if they can hear you?
Yes. Mr. Nolan, I can barely hear you.
I've got you on speaker on my cell phone. It's the best I can do at the moment. I'm holding the phone next to the microphone on my tablet.
So, Tony, is there a dial-in number or something that we can get better audio?
Yes, let me pull it up. The dial-in number, are you ready, Ms. Houston?
Sure, give me, I'm going to add the call to Jim and just put him on that way. I'm ready.
Looks like it's 312.
312.
626.
626.
6799, and I'm going to forward this invite to you all again as well.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
990
990
7611 5690.
Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue.
Press pound.
Just press pound.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have joined the meeting as an attendee and will be muted throughout the meeting.
Well, it sounds like he's doing but is muted. Mr. Nolan?
I might need to get some distance between my phone and the tablet so you guys don't get feedback.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Nolan?
You guys couldn't hear him, so he's going to try to call in directly this time.
Okay.
Tony?
Yes.
Can you call Mr. Nolan on your phone and let him speak that way?
Yes. Alicia, what is his number?
I think he's trying to call in right now, but his phone number is 786.
Okay. Okay. 3827100.
Yes, sir.
Can you all at least hear the phone ring?
Yes.
Yes,
I can
Jim Nolan.
hear it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Mr. Nolan, we can hear you.
Okay, thank God. What happened was I signed into the meeting at about 5:45, and for some reason I was too early, so I got knocked out. And when I got knocked out, I couldn't get back in. So that's
Okay. We're so very sorry for that, Mr. Nolan. Now we're currently in the public hearing for your case, and you have the opportunity to speak as the applicant. Speak
Yes,
to the
thank you.
variance, the concurrent variance, please.
Yes, my name is James Nolan. I live at 3902 Peachtree Road, Atlanta, Georgia.
Go ahead.
Did Kimberly already explain what my variance is about?
No, that's for you to do. The public hearing is your opportunity to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. sorry for.
Mr. Nolan, can you go ahead?
Yes, give me 1 second because I thought that Kimberly was going to read my application, but I'll do it. It's all right. Okay. I'm seeking to rezone the property from R8 residential townhomes to R4 multifamily with a two-part concurrent variance for relief from the height guidelines from the front and side setback regulations within the Cleveland Avenue Overlay District.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, sure. Like a lot. The purpose of my request is, as you probably are aware, this is an assemblage of 4 single-family lots, which formerly had single-family homes. Maybe one had 2 homes on it. I don't know. But the property has been rezoned to RT. And practically speaking, if the lots are not combined, I don't see a viable development with respect to the city's goal under the Cleveland Avenue Overlay District, which is basically to encourage, projects of higher density. So what I've been able to do, because I've been trying to do it, is I wanted to create a unique residential for sale product that would be attractive to upper middle income professional buyers, citizens of East Point that wanted to perhaps downsize and move into something that would be more easily maintained. They're tired of home ownership, and especially in view of safety and security. So, that was the beginning. The second thing, and also extremely important, was I wanted to have a transit-oriented location. So I wanted to be in short proximity to the MARTA station. And in order to find all of those components together, I was very fortunate to be able to get this assemblage of properties. The interesting thing about my assemblage is I have a small tail that goes along the bottom of the property that I want to make into a public park. It's going to be an access easement to the property, but as you'll see on my site plan, it is also a public park. Now, I think you can see some pictures of my property. I don't know where we are on that, but basically the development consists of 2 mid-rise residential buildings. They will be stick-built. They will consist of 4 residential floors each. There will be 6 units on each floor, and there will be surface ground parking. My goal is to make this exceedingly attractive. I mean, one of the more attractive projects in the immediate area, and to do it in a manner that is affordable. Affordability is not just the sale price of the property, but is also the requirement of the condominium and maintenance fees thereafter. So by having a sufficient density, I'm able to split those fees among a great number of people and to keep the number quite low, and at the same time provide substantially greater services. My design is very unique in terms of the amenity package that I'm able to provide at this price point. So my price point on the 1 bedroom is about $215 to $225, and on the 1,000, and on the 2 bedroom it's $275 to $285, which is a pretty hard number for me to do, especially in terms of the amenities that I want to do. Extensive security, landscaping, and fencing. And as you know, this project will require more than 1,400 linear feet of fencing on 3 sides. So it's hard for me to talk to you without being able to give you the visual at the same time, but we could talk about, if you'd like. Oh, thank you. If you'd like to talk a little bit about how I developed the site plan or how the site plan works, I'd like to go into that, because I spent a lot of time with a very, very good architectural firm developing this site plan to make sure that, you know, all of the access and the fire and the garbage and everything like that could go in. At the same time, I didn't want to put two buildings on top of each other. So the separation between these two buildings is more than 35 feet, when I believe the requirement is either 20 or 25 feet. Could be 30, but I think it's 25 feet. So I wanted to make the separation between the buildings, you know, larger. And that's the reason why I have a little bit of problem on the north side of the property, in which I'm asking for the setback to start at 6 feet, but go down to 1 foot. And I should say that on the other side of that property is an 8-unit townhouse. It's already developed, and their unit to my setback is more than 40, 50 feet. So this the extra few feet really is, in terms of being closer, it's only closer with respect to pavement. It's not closer with respect to the building. Is insignificant. The other thing that I requested was on the front. I wanted to make this more transit oriented. So to set the buildings back 25 feet and have people walk out the front door and into to the sidewalk and then up, really didn't, it wasn't as productive as moving the front up to about 13 feet. And then I have as you'll see from the pictures, a very attractive pedestrian entrance to the building for both residents and guests to enter and to accept mail, delivery, et cetera, and each building will have the like thing. On the ground parking floor, if we could look at the floor plan that I provided. I'll give you a second to get there. Tell me when you got there.
There.
Okay. So what I've done is I provided on the ground floor, I provided for covered parking and surface parking for 64 parking spots, which is the requirement. Additionally, in the parking level, I provided for an exercise area room, a condominium office, and a nice lobby to enter the structure. Basically, if you lived in this building, you would go into the lobby elevator, and if you lived on the first floor, you would go on the elevator, the door would open, first floor, there would be 6 units. And I think if we can go to the floor plan, which is the upper floor plan, you can see how they're laid out. So the other thing is I wanted to have something that was quote modern, because this is something that hasn't been seen basically in your community. Basically, your community has seen a lot of apartments, and your community has seen a lot of townhouses. And I think townhouses are great, but I wouldn't be able to develop these 3 lots in the townhomes because I wouldn't be able to get any amount of density that would make a project economically feasible. And that's why the verticality is so important. The other thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to have very, very useful balconies. So the balconies for the end units and the 2 bedrooms are all 81 square feet, which is the size sufficient to have furniture out there and actually sit and enjoy yourself. The other thing that I really wanted to accomplish in here was to put a project in a municipality that had a, I don't know how to say it, had a forward thinking to what they wanted to see happen in the future. And that had to do with the Cleveland Avenue Overlay District and the thoughts that go along with that, the thoughts that go along with the calf trail, which, by the way, if as it gets done eventually, will be between my property and the railroad line if the bridge gets built over Norman Berry. But until that bridge gets built over Norman Berry, the pedestrian traffic to the MARTA station is directly in front of the property that I'm trying to develop. So on my side of the street is multifamily, my multifamily project. Then there's the 8-unit townhome project. And then there is the 100-unit townhome project on the corner. So the whole side of my street is all multifamily residential. And on the other side of the street is the Buggy Works and the Wagon Works, which have been redeveloped quite nicely. And they are providing some impetus for the kind of tenants that I would like to have. Professional people. I want to be live work. Until this recent coronavirus, I figured that my 100% market would be citizens of East Point and the airport. And now I'm not so sure about that. But whatever. I also felt that the professionals who worked at Tyler Perry Studios would be an excellent source of prospective market people. So that's the kind of citizen and resident that I see at this property.
Okay.
I better stop now.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan. Are there any other proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning case? Any other proponents? Kim, I can't see because we're not in gallery, so I don't know if there's anybody. Are there any opponents to speak against this zoning case? Any opponents to speak against this zoning case? Hearing none and seeing none, commissioners, at this time, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second it. Oh, no.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Miller, that we close the public hearing. All in favor sound aye.
Aye.
All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have, the public hearing is now closed. Staff, would you please sound your recommendation?
Yes, I'm going to pull the screen up. Give me a moment. Chairman, in reference to item number 7, case number 2020Z-003-03 /2020 VC-009-03, the Atlanta Performance Center applicant. I apologize, Chairman. Item number 6, case number 2020Z-002-02 /2020 VC-003-20 James Nolan. -02 applicant James Nolan. Property located at 2676, 2684, and 2688 Martin Street in Ward B. The applicant seeks a rezoning the applicant seeks to rezone properties from RT residential townhome to R4 multifamily with a 2-part concurrent variance for relief from the height guidelines and front yard setbacks and regulations within the Cleveland Avenue Overlay District. Staff has recommended deferral for this rezoning case, and we have recommended deferral for this case because there are some underlying planning concerns dealing with our comprehensive plan where the application is not in compliance with our comprehensive plan. We have looked forward into our Cleveland Avenue overlay district, which referred us to a Cleveland Avenue master plan. And we are looking further into those documents because, again, as Mr. Nolan has stated, this area is within a half a mile of a MARTA station. In instances when that happens, that is a proponent for supporting transit-oriented development, which this application appears to be in compliance in. But because there is a issue with compliance with our comprehensive plan, we do not want to go against that and be hasty in that manner. So we would like to have more time to review our documents and our policies that are within the city. And we also are working with our downtown overlay district, which will provide additional regulations and policies that may, in essence, support this case. But we do not, again, want to move for a denial in it because it shows merit in supporting a transit-oriented development. So we would like to have more time to review our policies that we have.
Okay, commissioners, you've heard from the applicant, you've heard staff's recommendation. Gallery screen, please, Kim. Commissioners, at this time, I entertain a motion. Because this item is a concurrent variance, please make your motion in form of a recommendation.
Motion to defer is the recommendation to defer.
Is there a second?
Second for discussion.
There's been a motion to defer made by Commissioner Fan, seconded by Commissioner Tucker for discussion. Any discussion?
I'm sorry, we went out on me for a second. So just to Mr. Nolan, for me personally, I can't envision a development that would be any better than what you've created. I'm very impressed with it. But I do want to give the staff the ability to go through the process they feel is necessary as well. That is why I'm making my seconding the motion.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
You need to mute Mr. Nolan. Mr. Nolan, the public hearing is closed, so we won't go back and forth, okay?
It was just a comment.
So any other comments, questions, or concerns?
Sean, this is Gina. Just checking if you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Now.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? So I will ask the question directly to Mr. Nolan, so you can unmute Mr. Nolan. Mr. Nolan, given that staff has recommended a deferral, are you aware of staff's recommendation to defer?
I heard it.
Okay, you just hearing it tonight.
I just heard it for the first time, yes.
Okay. With a deferral, does that put your project in any type of jeopardy?
No, sir, it doesn't really, because of what's happening in the marketplace right now, and the reality of the world. As long as we can, it's not as long as it can be done in the next, 2 to 4 weeks. That's fine. And I'm happy to sit down with staff. And one of the things that I really attempted to do is try to understand the Cleveland Avenue Overlay District and its regulations with respect to various developments. And quite frankly, I think
Mr. Nolan,
I'll work with staff on. Yeah.
Thank you. You will work with staff, but the public hearing is closed, so we can't go back and forth, okay? The process isn't set up that way. I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of the deferral and that would not negatively impact your development, and you've answered those questions. Thank you, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioners, the motion on the floor is to defer case number 2020 Z as in zebra -002-02, concurrent variance with also case number 2020 V as in Victor, C as in Charles -003-02. The motion was made by Commissioner Fan, second by Commissioner Tucker. All in favor sound aye.
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 All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the item is deferred. Thank you all. Our next agenda item is case number 2020 Z as in zebra -003-03 and 2020 V as in Victor, C as in Charles -009-03. Staff, would you please sound this agenda item?
Chairman, item number 8. I'm ahead of myself. Chairman, item number
7.
yes, sir. Item number 7, case number 2020Z003-03/2020VC-09-03. The applicant, Atlantic Human Performance Center, and Julanda Boone Campbell, the representative. The property is located at 3750 Washington Road in Ward D. The applicant seeks to rezone property from RL to R2C1 with a concurrent variance for relief from the side yard setback as noted in section 10-2072E.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, at this time, I entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
So we moved by Commissioner Tucker, second by Commissioner Miller, that we open the public hearing. All in favor sound aye.
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 All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now open. Ms. Boone?
Actually, it's Dr. Evans speaking on this.
Okay, Dr. Evans, please state your first and last name and your current address.
Okay, Dr. Keith Evans, and my current address is 156 Nickajack Road, Mableton, Georgia, 30126.
Okay, state your case.
Yes, thank you. I'm here requesting the zoning of this property return to the zoning that conforms to its initial usage of approximately 20 years ago of a bank building, and its current usage, current commercial usage of 20 years housing the Georgia Homeowners Association. This proper zoning will allow me to house my physical therapy wellness practice within the regulations of East Point. My physical therapy and wellness center will be a second office located here. My first is on Hogan Road, but this will be a second office for the purpose of decreasing the healthcare disparities in the East Point area for physical therapy and rehabilitation. I've taken the liberty to meet with, well, actually to treat many of the patients from East Point area, and the liberty to reach out to the to Mark and Fitzgerald of the Washington Road Homeowners Association, as well as a few homeowners such as Ms. Ford and Dr. Rogers, and have received excitation and approval in their acceptance. I look forward to providing care in the facility, but I would need a C1 zoning for the property to improve it, and I'm looking forward to becoming part of this close-knit East Point community.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Are there any other proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning matter? Any other proponents?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, staff did receive an email right when the commission meeting started in favor of this project from a Dr. Ronwin Rogers, and I can read it if that's okay.
Please.
Dear East Point Planning and Zoning, I have known Dr. Keith Evans for over 30 years. My family and I were among some of the first families to join his performance center. I'm extremely pleased to know that East Point will have the highest quality of service that Dr. Evans and his staff will bring to our community. Dr. Evans has my total support and confidence that he will be an asset to our city. Best regards, Dr. Ronwin Rogers.
Okay, thank you. Any other proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning matter?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
There is a message from Mark Fields that would like to speak in favor.
Okay, is Mr. Fields there?
Kimberly, is there a way to let him in?
I don't know. Where's our host? Where's Kim?
I am here.
Okay, I think there's a Mr. Fields here, Mr. Mark Fields, who would like to speak in favor of this zoning matter.
Mr. Fields, yes. Let me allow Mr. Fields to speak. Mr. Fields, are you there?
He's muted.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Fields.
Yes, thank you. I do want to speak in support of this business and Dr. Evans. He approached the neighborhood association, told us what he was trying to do, and you all have seen us many times before with the adjacent property and that property as well. And this is the kind of business that we want to see in our neighborhood because it supports our community and it supports our residents. And he has taken the opportunity and time to speak to us and work with us. And I know our president of the Washington Road Neighbors Association, Mr. Fitzgerald Smith, has his own thing to say, as well as Dr. Rogers. But he took that time to speak to Ms. Ford, who gave me permission to say that she's in favor of it, and he lives right down the road. So I'll just say thank you all for this opportunity that that we're meeting, and it feels really good to actually stand up and say we are in support of bringing the business into Ward D.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fields. Are there any other proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning matter?
Mr. Chair, I received a note that Mr. Fitzgerald Smith is also in support of this case.
Okay. Mr. Smith, is there anything that you would like to say?
Well, at this time, I think that Dr. Rogers and Mark have said everything that I wanted to say. Dr. Evans came to us. He had several meetings with us. We got to go over to his other facility. He has a very upscale, professional business about him. And I can't wait for this to open so I can go over there and get my knee back in good shape to play some basketball when I turn 65. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm laughing, Fitz.
All right.
now,
Any other proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning matter? Are there any opponents here to speak against this zoning matter? Any opponents here to speak against this zoning matter? Hearing none and seeing none, commissioners, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Fan, seconded by Commissioner Lovett, that we close the public hearing. All in favor sound aye.
Aye.
All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now closed. Staff, would you please sound your recommendation?
Yes, I will share the screen. One moment, please. Mr. Chair, in reference to item number 7, 2020Z -003-03/2020 VC-009-03, applicant Atlanta Human Performance Center and Jolanda Boone, representative. Property located at 3750 Washington Road in Ward D. The applicant seeks to rezone property from RL to C1 with a concurrent variance for relief from the side yard setback as noted in section 10-2072EB. Staff has recommended approval of the rezoning from RL Residential Limited to C1 Neighborhood Commercial to use property as a professional office, physical therapy doctor, and concurrent variance from the side yard setback of 15 feet as required in section 10-2072EC with the following condition. The condition, if property is approved as adaptive reuse, condition number 1, property is approved as adaptive reuse project. If project is demolished, new structure must comply with current setbacks as outlined in the city ordinance.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, we've heard from the applicant. We've also heard from the community as proponents for this agenda item. At this time, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Okay, that should be in the form of a recommendation. Hold on one second. That should be in the form of a recommendation. Mr. Tucker, is it your recommendation?
Recommend, yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
Clyde, second.
Okay, and Mr. Tucker, is your recommendation to approve with the condition as stated by staff? Because there is one condition.
Yes, Mr. Chair, it is.
And Mr.
Second still stands.
Commissioner Richard, okay, and his second still stands. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Commissioners, at the moment, we have a recommendation on the floor to approve case number 2020Z as in 0-003-03 / 2020V as in Victor, C as in Charles -009-03. Concurrent variance for 3750 Washington Road. The motion was made by Commissioner Tucker to approve this agenda item with the one condition as stated by staff. That was seconded by Commissioner Mitchell. All in favor sound aye.
Aye.
All opposed sound nay. Here none, the ayes have it. The recommendation stands and is approved. Thank you. Our next agenda item is 2020. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Our next agenda item is 2020V as in Victor -005-02. Staff, would you please sound this agenda item?
Mr. Chairman, item number 8, case number 2020V-005-02. The applicant, Atlanta Food Bank applicant, and Laura Clayton is the representative. The property is located at 3400 North Desert Drive in Ward D. The applicant seeks a variance for relief from the sign provisions per section 10-7017B to allow for installation of 3 wall signs for the Atlanta Community Food Bank.
Okay. Commissioner, at this time, I entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
So moved by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Fan. We open the public hearing for case number 2020V as in Victor -005-02. All in favor sound aye.
Aye.
All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. Your case. Ms. Clayton. Did she hear me? Ms. Clayton?
Lauren, your mic is muted.
You're muted, Lauren.
Guys, good evening, everyone. How are you?
Okay.
Lauren Clayton, 2849 Paces Ferry Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30339. We were the only item on the work session agenda on 3/13, and obviously the world has significantly changed since the last time we met with some of y'all. The new facility opened on March 9th, and basically within days of that, the pandemic hit, and I can't say enough how well things have been going with the city of East Point and the food bank. It's the partnership that we anticipated it would be, and if you've been following the news, you can see some of the things that have been going on. I've been talking to some of the community leaders and council folks, and it's just really, you know, it's exactly what we envisioned for the Atlanta Community Food Bank for moving to East Point. So while the circumstances are unfortunate, I'm glad they're here to address these needs, because the previous facility would not have been able to meet the demand that they're facing right now. They're nonstop right now. So Ms. Smith has a PDF labeled 3400 North Desert Drive, and we can just go through that, and that would be easiest. Most of you have seen these. Is this the slide that starts with the site plan? There we go. Okay, so you obviously all remember the site plan, probably. The stream buffers that you see there, the grading, which of course is not on this because it's not a survey, but basically this building sits in a bowl, and the building needed to be situated with respect to the topography and the stream buffers and the zoning conditions that were imposed. That being said, that means that the orientation of the building was very limited. So what you have is where that parking lot is the front entrance of the building, which looks distinctly different from the back side of the building. It's a brick facade, and that's where essentially everyone is supposed to go in. That's where employees go in, that's where guests go in, that's where visitors go in, that's where meeting attendees go in. And so what we have here now is that when you drive onto the site, if you can go, actually, Ms. Smith, to the next slide. Is that, I'm looking at a different one, but that's okay. We can work with that. This is the front of the building, and you see you've got one of these wall fixtures on the front side wall of the building, And then that middle piece is set back significantly. That is the main entrance with a courtyard in front of it. And that front of the building is the side that faces Red Wine Road. And it sits very low down from grade at Red Wine. And you have to drive down a very steep driveway to get into it. And if you've been to the site yet, which I hope you all just take a look at it at some point, you pull into the driveway off North Desert Drive and you make a left down an extremely steep hill. And that is what takes you to the front entrance of the building. It is a little bit confusing when you get on there, especially if you're new to the site. And so what these peach symbols would serve as would be wayfinding devices so that people know where to go. The smaller sign, Ms. Smith, do you have the elevations that show the side of the building with the smaller peach? Okay, that works. At the top of that slide that's on the screen, that smaller peach becomes visible when you enter the campus. And what that does is it directs the partner agencies to their own area. So the partner agencies are the churches, the nonprofit organizations, and places like that. And so that's where they're supposed to go to do their business with the food bank. Now, it was brought to the engineer's attention when they put in the sign application that wall signs were not permitted under the CUP zoning classification. So we sat down with staff back in October and discussed the options. We took the position that because these are not visible from public view, they don't comport with the definition of sign under the East Point zoning ordinance. If you look at, there are some photographs I took from Red Wine Road. Do you have those to pull up?
I don't.
Okay. So I think you do have them in your packet. So I took some photographs from Red Wine Road of the two signs on the front facade. And in order to see those, for one of them, you had to walk up about halfway up Red Wine for that first sign. And for the sign set back over the entrance, you had to walk up more than halfway. Now we took the position that because Red Wine Road is closed and because the zoning condition is that you cannot open Red Wine Road, then that is not visible to the public. Staff disagreed, and so we were in a situation where we needed to request a zoning interpretation letter. So we did that and received it shortly before the application deadline. And so we decided to go ahead and file the variance, the primary variance, rather than a secondary variance asserting our interpretation of the sign ordinance. And if you got today, I hope you did this afternoon, I circulated our file memo, which is what we make every time we engage in a decision like this. And so that kind of gives a summary of the legal framework under which we made this decision. So basically the acreage limitations imposed by the zoning conditions, the fact that the zoning conditions also impose that you cannot ever access the site from Red Wine, you can't access it from Queen Elizabeth, and of course you can't access it from 285, makes it a very tight footprint with respect to the driveways, the front entrance, the shape of the building, and the location of the building, and even the angle of the building, as you can see there. And so when you come onto the site and you're trying to figure out where you need to go, you're basically backwards. You turn around, you're facing the side of the building, which is the facility where all the magic happens, where all the workers are inside and they're gathering up food. And that's just not that's not a safe place for people to enter, and that's not where people are supposed to enter. And it's certainly not as beautiful as the front entrance with the courtyard. So the hardship is essentially topography and the zoning conditions. And we met with the community at the CZIM. They had no issues with the signs. We were able to engage in a very robust conversation with them about, where we are with the community versus where we were when we were seeking the rezoning. I think things have improved significantly. I think that we were able to engage in talks about changes we could make in terms of lighting, in terms of trees. We discussed them being able. Yes. Is it time?
No. My screen froze, and so I thought something had happened. So please continue. I'm sorry.
Okay. And at this point, we're even talking about the Williamsburg meetings happening at the food bank. And so I think, between what's going on now and the conversations we had at CZIM, I think that we're finally at a place where this is a good fit for East Point, and I'm really just from the bottom of my heart glad about that. And like I said, I don't, you know, these signs are not visible from anywhere you go except the food bank side. Unless you're traipsing along or part of Red Wine Road, you should not be on. So if anyone, you know, I distributed that memo today because there is a staff report of denial. I wanted to make sure you had before you some kind of legal and technical explanation that explain why we sought a variance, and rather than appealing the letter that told us we need to seek a variance, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Any other proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning matter? Any other proponents here to speak in favor of the zoning matter? Is there anyone here to speak against the zoning matter? Anyone here to speak against the zoning matter? Hearing none and seeing none, commissioners, at this time, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Lovett, that we close the public hearing for case number 2020 V as in Victor -005-02. All in favor, sound aye.
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 All opposed, sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now closed. Staff, would you please sound your recommendation?
Yes, Chairman. For item number 8, case number 2020-V-005-02, applicant Atlanta Food Bank and Laura Clayton, representative, property located at 3400 North Desert Drive in Ward B. The applicant seeks a variance for relief from the sign provisions per section 10-7017B to allow for the installation of 3 wall signs for the Atlanta Food Bank. Staff has recommended denial of the variance for relief for the sign provisions for per section 10-7017B and to allow for the installation of 3 wall signs at the Atlanta Food Bank in the CUP zoning district. Per city code, wall signs are not permitted in the CUP zoning district.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, at this time, I entertain a motion. You've heard from the applicant, you've heard staff's recommendation.
I would like to make a motion. My motion is to approve the 3 symbols to be installed in the area specified in the plan by the Atlanta Community Food Bank.
Thank you, Commissioner Mitchell. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by Commissioner Tucker, that this body approves case number 2020 V as in Victor -005-02. Any comments, questions, or concerns?
Discussion.
Yes, Commissioner Fan.
All right, could you put that last one back up, Linda? The last one, please. The last
yes.
site plan.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Fan.
Thank you.
All right.
Is there any way you can impose that and make it a little larger? Thank you so very much. That's good enough. That's good enough for me. I don't know about others. This is coming off of Desert Drive, and I'm going to ask this question of the attorney who made the presentation. If we're coming off of Desert Drive on the red wine, I've been in this area, there's a sign right here on this, woo, it went back down. There's a sign right here on the gate when you enter in. Am I correct here?
You're talking about the monument sign?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Keep going down on me. Linda, my eyes ain't like they used to be. I'm trying to see. Thank you. Thank you. So when you enter in here, you can see the side of the building when you ride by, but when you enter in here, is this a driveway entering into the front of the building, you're saying, where the parking space is?
Yeah, so that driveway off towards Prince George is, oh God, it's probably about a 45-degree slope. Actually, we caught a skateboarder on it one time who had to be removed from the premises because it was
skateboarded on it. You
very awesome hill.
Okay, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. We ain't gonna go to skateboard. All right. So when you come down here, this is the front of the building here.
Yeah.
The office part of the town where the parking lot is.
Where that little, yeah. That's right.
Okay, so you trying to get a sign in there?
That's
On the
right.
building?
And then on that wall, just to the, I guess that's the south.
The side wall
Yeah,
on the office
that's right.
building side?
That's right.
So when you coming down, you can see the sign on the side of the office building side. Is
That's
there
right.
a
So
sign there's a sign on the front of it though, right?
There is a small sign. If you see that little red squiggle that looks like an arrow, and then where the building kind of juts out right there, that's where the brick part then turns into the gray part. And right over where that gray part.
No, I'm over here to always keep me where I was. Don't take me no place else. I'll take you where I want to go. Just follow me. So there's a sign there on the front of this building, and you want a sign on the office building. You want a sign on the side of the building also too.
A smaller one, yes, for the
On the
agency
front.
services.
Okay, all right. Then. So you want to put a larger sign so when the people come down to hear that 45-degree angle, they'll be able to see that sign of the building there.
That's
Is that
right.
correct?
That's correct, sir.
So that's the first sign you want?
Yes.
Is it one of the 3 signs?
That's right.
Okay. So now take me back around because I know we can see this coming down from the street. You can see this part. So this is sort of like the warehouse community area, I guess, in here. So where would these 2 signs go on this building, on this side?
So actually on the office side that we were just on, there would
Right.
be 2 signs, one on the kind of front wall that directly faces the parking lot, and then where it's set back in with the courtyard, another sign right over the front entrance. And then the third sign is—
Wait a minute, you're gonna have 3 signs on this office building? Because you said one is already on that building, right?
No, sir, that's just the monument sign that directs drivers into the site. That
No, I'm
is
talking on the building. I mean, on the building itself. Is there a sign on this building itself?
currently no, sir.
Okay, all right, no sign on this building, period.
There's
So
not.
you want to put 2 signs on this building?
2 signs on the front brick portion by the parking lot. So that the image of the building at the bottom of the slide that Ms. Smith just switched to.
Okay,
There's
this is the
one on
front.
the left.
Am I looking
That's
at, am I
right.
looking at, hold on, Laura. Am I looking at the front of the building? This is like I said, the front side entrance, right? So there's a logo there, right?
That's right. And you're
Okay,
basically
then I'm
that.
looking at the I'm looking at the bottom one. I'm looking at the bottom one. Just follow along with me. And then there's look like a little design with a sign in there. And all of those are on the same size. Those 2 signs.
Those 2, yes, that's correct.
Okay, and this is the office building?
Yes, that's what you're facing when you're standing in the parking lot.
Okay, all right. So this is the front entrance where that big sign is, the front entrance going in?
Yeah, the front entrance is the one that's way down by the parking lot.
Okay.
It's probably the lowest point of the building.
Okay, okay. And then you want a sign before you get to the entrance on the building too?
So actually the sign, the additional sign is smaller, and its only goal is to make sure that the partner agencies know where to go. That is on the side of the building. When you get into the lot, you can, into the site, excuse me, you can see it. But again, it's a lot smaller and you can't see it from anywhere else until you're on the site. But that lets the churches and nonprofits know where they're supposed to go, because they receive special services that are different from visitors and volunteers and guests, basically.
Okay, take me back to where you want the third sign at now. So that's the side entrance to what? That's the third sign at the top? That's the side entrance to what?
That is right where the brick part of the building meets the gray part of the building. Can you point to it for me? There we go.
Is it here?
Yep. Just, yeah, a little bit further up, but yes.
Okay.
Here.
Right, yeah, right there.
Right there.
That's right.
Okay. All right. And this area is the warehouse area here? Where
Once
we at?
once you get past that area where that sign is, where the agency people can go in and do their business, yeah, everything back from that point is the warehouse section.
Okay. All right. I'm good. Thank you for answering my question.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Fant.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns from the commissioners? Kim, can you take us back to gallery? Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Okay, what I'll add is, Lauren, I'd like to thank you and your client, the Atlanta Community Food Bank. As you had stated before, these are very, very difficult times for a lot of people around our country, indeed also the world. And so thank you for the service that you all are providing. I also had an opportunity because you had mentioned some photos that you had submitted, and my recommendation, well, my direction or directive for staff is that in a situation like that, please make sure you provide those to the commissioners. Someone like myself, I've not been able to go to the site, and it would have been very helpful for me to see those images. Because I did not have the ability to do that, I Googled the Atlanta Community Food Bank, and I was then able to see better what are you talking about? You need those peaches. And I clearly understand that the monument sign gets people to the campus, and then those peaches will say to the churches, when you come onto the campus, go to the left, and where you see a sign, you go in that door. If you're coming for this other business, get onto the campus and you go to the right, and when you see a peach, you go through that without having big signs and words and all of that. I get it. So thank you, and I'm good with it. Commissioners, are there any other comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none and seeing none, the motion made by Commissioner Mitchell is to approve this agenda item. The second, it has been seconded by Commissioner Tucker. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All in favor sound aye.
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 All opposed sound nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it. This agenda item is approved. Thank you so much for your patience last meeting and this meeting, Ms. Clayton, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right. Commissioners, our next agenda item or any announcements? Do we have any announcements to make? Anything that's for the good of the public? Hearing none and seeing none, at this time I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Sean, before we adjourn, I think we probably want to just make an announcement that Fulton County is doing those testing for people who want to be tested for COVID-19. Pardon me? Can you hear me?
Please mute, Kim, please mute Lauren. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that the people who want to be tested can go out to Wolf Creek, and they can call the Fulton County number at 44613-8150. My wife and I would be tested today, and I would hope that others would take advantage and get tested for this virus.
All right, thank you so much, Commissioner Fan. Kim, can you please mute Ms. Clayton? Thank you. Okay, any other announcements? Hearing none and seeing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second that motion.
Second.
Need a second?
It's been moved by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Fan, that we adjourn. All in favor sound aye.
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 All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. This meeting is now adjourned.
There's a hand from Chairman Miller.
Mr. Miller?
I was just saying goodbye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And goodbye to you too.
One quick thing, Clyde.
I'm gonna see you. Not goodbye. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Excellent
guys.
job. Thanks for getting us through this.
Thank you, Sean.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.